Bridget Lake, president of the Oviedo Winter Springs Regional Chamber of Commerce, and we are here with school board member Abby Sanchez, running for School Board District 3, serving Seminole County. Our premier virtual Eastside Regional Hob Nob is presented by Lucas Land Group, an Oviedo-based family-run business with interest throughout Central Florida. Our sponsor, Duke Energy and UCF, our radio sponsor, News 96.5 WDBO, and our website sponsor, Palm Tree Tech Center. Now, before we get into our conversation, let's watch a quick commercial from our sponsors, Duke Energy and UCF.
When does the future begin? At Duke Energy, we say now. That's why we're investing in tomorrow's stronger, smarter energy future, today. Like a resilient power grid that can withstand storms not yet on the radar. Meters that show your energy use so you can adjust and save before your bill arrives. And a smarter grid ready for tomorrow's clean energy breakthroughs. We're Duke Energy, and we're building your smarter energy future today.
We will teach you in a room. We will teach you now on Zoom. We will teach you in a house. We will teach you with a mouse. We will teach you here or there. We will teach you because we care, and we do care about you.
And you have a world ahead of you of great things. And we will get through this part, and that is to get you to graduation.
And remember, Knights will always charge on.
And now we are back with school board member Abby Sanchez, running for School Board District 3, serving Seminole County. Abby, how are you doing today?
Great, how are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Glad to have you here today. Why don't you start by telling us a, thank you. Why don't you tell us a little bit by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a native Floridian. I was born in South Florida in Davie, Florida. I grew up on a small horse ranch, grew up raising horses. I'm actually an identical twin. And my twin sister lives in South Florida, as well as my other two sisters and my whole family. I had three wonderful children that all went to Seminole County schools. They all graduated from Lake Brantley High School. And we are 5-generation Knowles. So my husband and I met at Florida State, and we lived in Tallahassee actually for 15 years. And I taught school in Tallahassee, taught 1 year in Orange County, and then I taught 16 years here in Seminole County. And so I am the only teacher on the Seminole County School Board. And I was a teacher for many, many years, elementary school. I keep in touch with all my children because if I didn't even teach them, I know them from my families and friends. So they're all my babies. And they have my number, so do their families, and they reach out to me all the time. My husband is a civil engineer. He oversees I-4. He's Chief Operating Officer, Volkert Engineering. And it's going to be beautiful when it's done. And my daughter just recently got married and during the COVID. So actually the week that everything was on halt, the first week, so we had to cancel our huge wedding plans, and we did a small ceremony, and then she'll get remarried at the end of November. And then I have a son that lives in Tampa who already graduated FSU, and one that's a senior at FSU right now. So that's a little bit about my family. I'm a horse lover. I love to dance. I love to be in the classroom. And it's something I do all the time. It's called You Deserve a Break, Take a Mental Health Day. It's something I can do since I'm a teacher. So I give teachers a break, and I sub for them for free so they can get a break, or if they want me to help. And it also helps them open up to me to share a little bit about some of their frustrations, or allows me to see some things that I think need to be fixed, or keeps the open door communication there.
Now, I have to ask, a twin sister.
Yes.
So do you just like have mental health days where you just have her go in instead of you, and you just take those days?
Well, if she didn't live in South Florida, I would. But when I was teaching at Sable Point Elementary, every year she would come into my classroom and play a trick on the kids, and the kids would go crazy. And so would administration and the teachers and all the faculty members. So we pulled fast ones on them all the time. And then in high school, we used to switch classes on April Fool's Day, and we had shirts that said, "I'm Abby, not Amy. I'm Amy, not Abby." And it's funny because I get called Amy all the time, even though I'm Abby, but I think it's because of name, A and A. You know, people don't even know I have a twin sister, and they call me Amy. But we switched classes when we were in high school, and our senior year, our teachers decided to pull April Fool's joke on us. And they gave us a pop quiz, and I failed hers and she failed mine. So we passed each other in the hallway telling each other that we failed each other's tests. And actually the teachers did an own joke for us. So we're still very close with all of our teachers from high school. And because I was class president all through 6th grade to my senior year. And it was a great joke.
That sounds like it was just a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. I talked to her, she's my best friend. I talked to her like 3 or 4 times a day.
Now, tell us about your therapy horse and the work it does with military veterans.
Wonderful. Okay, so when my kids were little, I wanted to give them riding lessons, and I wanted to, have a horse, which I grew up with all my whole life. I've pretty much broken every bone in my body from horses. I used to exercise race horses, and I have literally been kicked, trampled over, you name it. And everybody looks at me and they're like, "No, not you," until they see me out on the barn and they're like, "Okay, we don't want to mess with her." So anyhow, I mean, I ride in the Geneva Parade on a horse every year, and we're not going to have it this year. But anyhow, my horse I was using for my kids, and it was to the point that I wasn't able to ride them as much anymore, and the kids were already out of school and in college and so on and so forth. And I was confronted by a friend of mine who was opening up a therapy ranch called Mending Fences in Ocala. And my horse's name is Gator. His real name is Gator. Oh gosh, I just went blank on his real name. Well, anyhow, Gator. And I always joke around saying that only a Seminole could ride a Gator. Here is a Seminole, his real name is Space Gator. And he's a quarter horse, blue-eyed, beautiful quarter horse. And one of those horses that a baby could ride. He's considered bomb-proof, is what we call a horse that's really, really gentle and has a great disposition for anybody. And I was confronted by them saying, "You know what? We want to use horses for therapy for our military veterans and use them for PTSD with our military veterans, but then also now they opened it up for women that have been abused and children that have had drug addictions and things like that." So he's being utilized for different types of therapy because animal therapy is one of the best. And he lives in an air-conditioned barn, like it's gorgeous, and loves life. And it's great because I get to see him whenever I want, but at the same time, he's serving people that really need him. And it's been a blessing because I just think it's the greatest thing that he's helping so many people right now.
That sounds like an incredible story. I love horses myself, and
wonderful.
Yeah, I'm military, so it just really warms my heart when I hear stuff like that.
That's great.
So when it comes to your years of work on the PTA, how does that give you perspective when it came to your work on the diet?
So as a PTA president for 7 years, that's a little long. Nobody wanted to take over. I'm like, please, somebody. And that was on SAC and all different things, but being a PTA president at Lake Brantley High School for so many years, it really gave me the understanding of knowing what parents were concerned about, what our students were concerned about, what kind of things that we needed to create to help our students and families. And one thing everybody always said to me, Abby, you need to write a 101 book on how to get through high school, because I started a program and it's now gone to all the high schools But we have a pep rally for all the freshmen to come in, and the parents go to like a boohoo breakfast, but basically for ninth graders. And it's now becoming not just for ninth grade parents, but it's for all incoming new students that come to a new school, that moved from a different area. So we've opened it up to different families as well now. So they have that feel for getting to know the campus, but they also get a mentor. And so these students have mentors. While the parents are in the auditorium, the students have a pep rally and they go off and they meet all these wonderful students, get to know all the different classes and where their schedule, they get their schedule and get to know where their classes are. And that mentor will mentor them for the next 3 years or 4 years, depending upon how old that student is. And parents have a book of everything they need to know, and everybody talks about, how to reach the guidance counselor and do all the different things. And some things that I noticed that we didn't have was a scholarship room, something that I thought was extremely important. And I'm like, why can't I get volunteers on Wednesday, parents, to come into the school? We'll use a room, and they can help students find scholarships. And so that went over really well. And we started giving out, gift cards and all kinds of things that the kids went into the scholarship room to get the scholarships, the information, so they can go home and fill out the information. So all the things that I did with being on PTSA, as well as, the school advisory council and the boosters board, helped me so much understand the ins and outs of what we truly needed, working with all the different types of administrators and teachers. And I think having that teacher ability within myself, a lot of them felt they could reach out to me. And that meant a lot. So they would share their frustrations. And for many, many years, I've always wanted to run for school board. And I was waiting for my opponent back then to retire. And then I was waiting for my opportunity to run, because I had been planning on running for years. Poli-sci was my minor. I ran our campaign, mayor's campaign in Tallahassee. I worked in the Capitol, in the bill room. So politics has always been in my blood, and my husband's uncle was ex-governor of Florida, 2-term governor.
Wow.
Yes.
So you have a lot of experience, and especially in school, and you've been with the school board for 4 years now.
Yes, ma'am.
This next question, do you believe in grading charter schools and the same as public schools? With your experience after 4 years school board, and it seems like you have a lot of experience with several years. How do you feel about that?
Well, I believe the grading system should be the same as we have. I believe that they shouldn't get the same amount of money that we're allocated. That entity, so many of them are profit bearing, and not all of them. And I'm a firm believer for people to be able to go to the schools of their choice. If they want to go to a charter school, that's fine with me. We have some phenomenal charter schools here in Seminole County. But in general, I think that the accountability for all charter schools in the state of Florida need to be the same. And, I think a lot of people don't realize that when a teacher teaches at a charter school, they don't get the same salary that a teacher gets in our school system. So it's kind of a catch-22 type of thing, because they're not in the state retirement bank as a teacher or an employee, but yet they get financed the same way. They don't get the insurance benefits that we get. So when you're at a charter school, it's a complete different entity. And so it's like comparing apples to oranges, but yet the legislators aren't seeing the same thing. So, but I do believe the grading system should be the same. And actually, they do get graded the same way we do. They have to take the FSA. But the grading system, to me, is something that's warped in its own way. An A school could be an A school that only 45% of the student population has a passing FSA grade. So it's really not like 90 to 100%. It's based on if you gained your lower quartile of students have made progression. So I think a lot of people really truly don't understand the grading system. And I reached out when I was running last time to realtors so they could truly understand what an A school is and a B school and so on and so forth. Because it's a very confusing task. And now teachers will not be the best and brightest anymore. That will be dropped out of the formula. So that won't happen with BAM scores. That means that teachers won't be graded on if they are highly effective and let's say their whole class did extremely well on FSA, where another teacher maybe had a class with children that maybe didn't succeed as much. It's not fair to teachers like to be accounted for children that maybe one class is a cluster of gifted students where another class has children that maybe struggle a little bit more and think out of the box. So, but you can't get me on the FSA because I'm not for the testing. I think there's many other ways and opportunities, especially seeing FSA and working one-on-one with students for so many years and giving children with special needs the test. There's a lot of problems with the test, and I think that it's time for that test to go goodbye. We spend a lot of money on it, and I would like that money to go into our teachers' pockets and back into the classrooms. We can utilize different ways.
Thank you for clarifying that. Is there anything else before we wrap this up that you would like to talk about?
Well, one thing I would like to say is we're working on implementing a equity advisory council about diversity. And we have been meeting with so many of our students and parents, and it's not just our leadership students. Years ago, when I came on board, we only met with our student government students, and it's something that I said, you know what, guys, we need to be meeting with all of our students. We need to ask our principals to pick a wide variety of students, and let's go to the school, talk to them after school, and get their input and their insight, information. How are you feeling? Are you frustrated? What would you do if somebody came up to you and they were afraid, you were afraid they told you they were going to hurt themselves? What would you do? Surprisingly, a lot of them did not know what to really do. So it was our opportunity to really find out what they were thinking. And so we go from school to school, and all the different school board members go to their different schools. Then we implemented it in a middle school, and now we're going to be doing it to our fifth graders. So giving our students a voice, giving our parents a voice, giving our teachers a voice, finding out what they want is extremely important, and all of our employees. And because of that, we will have a diverse group that will help give us the input. We have a survey going out right now about school starting. Now, that's one very touchy situation right now with the numbers of COVID cases going up and up with the number of kids under a certain age. And I think it's very difficult for people to understand. They want their children to go to school, but at the same time, think about a kindergarten. I'm a teacher for 26 years. Kindergarten through second grade, they don't understand what social distance is. So they're hugging and touching each other. Then you have a child that has special needs like autistic children, where they have a mask put on their face and it's sensory issues. So they don't understand, or they need special guidance. And so somebody's having to hold them and touch them. Or how are we going to put 60 kids on a school bus and have 6 feet of space between them? Can't do it. And we can't afford 55 more buses. So we're waiting to see what the governor is going to do. We've been waiting for about a month now for the budget. So really, at this time, it hasn't even gone on his desk yet. So he has 15 days from that point. And I told everybody it's not going to be until the middle of July. And they're like, oh, no, it's not going to be that late. I'm like, and now they're starting to see that we're going to be waiting quite some time still. And I think I'm pretty much right on this case. And I have somebody in the inside helping me with that.
Well, Abby, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That is Abby. Absolutely. That is Abby Sanchez. She is running for School Board District 3. She is one of our candidates at the Eastside Regional Hob Nob. Please join us on June 30th, starting at 5:30 at our Eastside Regional Hob Nob, and check out esrhobnob.com for our one-on-one interviews and so much more on our candidates. Thank you so much, Abby. It was great seeing you.
Thank you. Great seeing you. Vote Abby Sanchez. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.